And good afternoon. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum for the next 30 minutes or so here on this Friday. Well, we're going to get you updated around the business world, what's happening with the market. Some good news coming our way there. Of course, we'll look at stocks we're paying attention to, all the national and local stories that we also need to know going into the weekend. And we got a bunch of them, including a bunch of local ones to keep you updated on what's happening around the Phoenix market. And let's get into it with that Market Watch. And stock market here today, generally positive, right? Obviously, the market is kind of still hanging around on the Fed rate cut that happened earlier this week on Wednesday. And that's basically where we are here today. S&P, still going up here as you see on your screen, but now the Dow Jones up 98 points to 46,289. S&P still adding right after that rate cut. 14 points up for it, 66.52. The Nasdaq's up 112 points to 22,583. The Russell 2K, that small cap, was up 50-something points. It closed yesterday. Well, some of those gains have disappeared today, 23.80% backwards right now to 24.52 for that small cap index. And then you got Bitcoin. Well, it's backwards, 1,500 points about today. Well, it's still in that 115,000 range, 115,577 for Bitcoin here at this moment on this Friday. So market doing what we kind of thought it would do here this week. Yes, Russell 2K is down today. Huge up the last couple days after that quarter rate cut there by the Fed. So generally a positive week here again, as we're obviously in the midpoint time here of September. Stocks we're paying attention to. Well, let's look at Bright House Financial. We've talked about this company before. Right now, it's only up 0.06%. I was going to say, that's the wrong stock there. That's Allstate there. Because I was going to say, this stock, what happened to it? I was about that question. I'll tell you this, Bright House Financial, well, it's up 26% today. Why? Bloomberg News reported that a group led by Aquarian Holdings was in talks to pay $65 to $70 per share in order to purchase Bright House Financial out there. Obviously, that's a big deal, a big soaring price out there, and 26% up here on Bright House Financial today based off of that purchase price here, coming up from Aquarian Holdings. Then we got Solar Edge Technologies I want to tell you about here as well. Well, it's up today about 4%. Well, it had a 24% surge throughout this whole week, and now another 4% up today. Solar Edge Technology is the stock there in that solar industry that is kind of the leader right now and taking a lot of increases on the stock market with some positive stuff. Well, why are they up big this week, and especially today, 4%, 24% for the week? Well, the Federal Reserve obviously lowering the benchmark rate, which means it's cheaper to borrow money for projects and things like that, which is what companies in the solar industry do, right? They have to borrow money to buy the products, to get them installed, pay their workers. So that means lower costs for these companies. And Solar Edge Technology up 24% for the week, 4% here today with those lower cost amounts. And then finally, let's look at Intel again. We talked about Intel yesterday. It was the stock we were paying attention to. Well, Intel is back about 2% here today. Well, 2.81% right now, as you can see. Well, yesterday, huge day for Intel, 22% up yesterday. This was all from NVIDIA saying that it would invest $5 billion in Intel as part of that deal to co-develop the data center and PC chips between Intel and NVIDIA. Big day yesterday, 22%. Today, 2.76% backwards. Well, so you give up some of those gains, but also a big movement here. Citi, the investment company Citi, they downgraded Intel from neutral on Friday. They moved them to sell, They were at neutral beforehand today. Citi said the stock is pricing in success in its leading-edge foundry business that Citi believes has minimal chance to succeed. Yeah, so Citi does not have faith in this foundry business, which Intel does lead. So they're downgrading it here in their ratings here to sell from neutral. That's causing some of this sell-off today after that big gain yesterday based off of that news of NVIDIA joining them. Later on, when we come back and we look at stocks, we'll look at Lennar, the home builder. I know they're reporting Lennar is, but, interest rates mortgages have started to come down. We saw last month. Where are they at? Just a kind of a bowling point here on housing as we're waiting on these interest rates for mortgages to kind of start falling a little bit more. We're going to look at Scholastic, right? Your favorite book club there when you were a kid or you have kids. You're still dealing with Scholastic. And then when we get done here, Apple, iPhone, the new products are out and selling, including the iPhone 17s. Some early data out there. So we'll look at the Apple stock as well coming up. And first, though, let's get you updated on some national stories and some updates. Well, all week long, we've been waiting for President Trump and the Chinese president, Xi Jinping, to get together and talk. We knew it was happening today. And what the news out of that meeting earlier today basically is that they did fail to come to a final agreement, specifically on TikTok during this call. The two, though, did make significant progress toward a deal. That's according to a White House official. Significant progress was made. We'll have the Chinese response here coming up here at the end of this story. But, they talked other things, TikTok being a big one here. Trump had announced that he and Xi agreed to meet during the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum's upcoming summit in South Korea. So another meeting is set up. Trump did add that he had agreed to go to China in the early part of next year. And then he also said that Xi would likewise come to the United States at an appropriate time. It was how he phrased it on his social media site. So if we go to the Chinese version of how the meeting went around the TikTok side of things, well, a translated readout from Chinese state-run news agency Xinhua, well, it actually showed that there aren't as close to an agreement as President Trump kind of led on to from the White House side of things. Here's the translated quote here. China's position on the TikTok issue is clear. The Chinese government respects the will of companies and is pleased to see the companies conduct business negotiations on the basis of market rules and reach solutions that comply with Chinese laws and regulations and balance interests, the statement said. It went on to say, we hope the U.S. side will provide an open, fair, and non-discriminatory business environment for Chinese companies investing within the United States. They went on to say the U.S. side hopes to promote bilateral economic and trade cooperations and support consultations between the two teams and properly resolve the TikTok issue. It's all from that statement on the Chinese side that was translated from there. So President Trump happy with the talks. The expectation was a deal would be done on TikTok today. Obviously not done. More meetings coming up. Then you got the bigger trade situation with China that they discussed today as well. But that's the update of the two, of course, global, huge global dominant companies here in the world presidents having conversations earlier today. One thing I enjoy a little bit more than I probably should, and it's just the sickness in me, is when people go to do live presentations to promote a product, promote their business, etc., and it just doesn't go right for them. Millions of dollars, billions of dollars going into these products, millions of dollars going into these presentations. Well, it's happened to Mark Zuckerberg. He was up there doing a keynote speech there in the much anticipated demo of those new AI glasses that Meta's coming out with. And it happened, of course, earlier this week about Wednesday, right? It was at the Connect 2025 keynote. Glitches happened with these glasses, folks. And it was in front of a packed audience of people looking at anticipating these glasses, investors, etc. These are the Meta Ray-Ban display glasses is what they are. It's priced at $799. It's been pitched as a breakthrough in wearable agentic AI as digital assistants that act on behalf of others. So Zuckerberg, he goes out there to do the demo, and he did two demos. Well, he tried to do two demos, let's put it that way. They failed miserably there as well. And so hundreds of people there anticipating this. And the keynote was held at Meta's Silicon Valley headquarters, so he had home court there as well. It was billed as the coming out party for the long-rumored, quote, hypernova is what they're calling them, unquote, glasses. At first, the first demo, Zuckerberg showed off a live view through the new glasses, and he replied to text using small wrist motions. And then it went wild on him a little bit. My favorite is what they blame for these mistakes. Cooking creator Jack Mancuso, he joined Zuckerberg on stage to try the glasses' new live AI feature. It's supposed to walk users through recipes step by step while you're making something. Well, it didn't go that way. The assistant repeatedly skipped ahead, and actually, the assistant refused to answer a very simple question. What do I do first? And it would not answer it. After several failed attempts, Mancuso blamed the Wi-Fi before tossing the segment back to Zuckerberg. Always blame the Wi-Fi. The second issue, well, they were showcasing the neutral band of the glasses. Zuckerberg successfully sent and received a text from Meta CTO, Chief Technology Officer Andrew Bosworth. Well, the current CTO president. I don't know after this presentation. But when Bosworth attempted to initiate a WhatsApp video call, well, the glasses wouldn't pick it up at all and acted like it didn't know what he was asking for. Zuckerberg fumbled with the interface before finally giving up in the presentation. Well, then Bosworth, he eventually walked out on stage, kind of joked around and called it the brutal Wi-Fi. Audience was laughing at that point on the presentation. Zuckerberg said on the stage, quote, "You practice these things like 100 times, and then you never know what's going to happen," unquote. That's why you don't do live presentations. Microsoft found this out famously. The guy that founded Microsoft, I just completely forgot his name, Bill Gates, went out on stage and they got the blue screen of death behind him in the middle of a presentation. Live presentations can always cause havoc and you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look at this show, for instance. We're live, right? Well, despite all these glitches, Zuckerberg framed the glasses as a leap forward in AI-powered personal technology. He did emphasize that the device represents Meta's vision of the future, where wearable AI assistants actually anticipate needs and handle tasks with minimal user effort. As long as the Wi-Fi isn't full, then you can do it. There is such a thing as Wi-Fi being too full in those environments. That's why you don't do them. Apple doesn't do live presentations anymore. They go out there, they talk. Tim Cook goes out and talks, then he walks off stage and they do a presentation of what they can do, because you can control the presentation and you're not subject to Wi-Fi glitches. That is a real thing. I know they're blaming it there. It's kind of fun to watch here, but it is a real thing when Wi-Fi gets bogged down. You guys know this as well, right? When all your kids are watching 1,000 movies and you're trying to uploading stuff and you're trying to get something simple done and it just goes a little bit slower. But still, billion-dollar companies having these mistakes just kind of makes me feel better about the mistakes that happen, when we're live here as well. Yesterday, we talked about Darden restaurants. Let's talk a little lunch here, right? Well, I said yesterday, well, Darden, your sales are down. They own Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. They own Longhorn Steakhouse. Darden does, but obviously, famously, Olive Garden's their big one. And I said yesterday their stock's down. I said, well, you're too expensive. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't cost $100 for a family to afford to go eat at Olive Garden. It should. Well, Darden Restaurants is listening, folks, to me and all of our complaints. They're now experimenting with smaller servings at Olive Gardens, but they're testing out a lighter portion entrees menu across 40% of its locations. They announced this on the quarterly earnings call yesterday. Here's the interesting thing. You can go into lunch, like if chicken parmesan, that's what I'm familiar with. For dinner, you get 2, breasts of chicken, and then the salad. At lunch, you get 1 breast, and lunch is considerably cheaper than dinner is. Just offer your lunch menu all the time. That's all you got to do. Anyway, I digress. This new menu section, it'll offer smaller portions at a reduced price on 7 of its existing entrees. It's an additional option for guests, and it's not replacing anything specifically on the Olive Garden menu. So they're not getting rid of the dinner portions, if you like overpaying for that. They're not getting rid of that. It's just a separate option here. And I haven't been in an Olive Garden, as I said recently, so I don't know if it's here yet, but across their stores, they are testing it out. The reduced portions section does include the chicken parmesan, parmigiana, by the way, eggplant, parmigiana. Who's enjoying eggplant, by the way? I've never had anybody order that. Do you like eggplant parmigiana? That's the question of the day here at McCollum on Business. The lasagna classico is also on that list. Five cheese ziti, which is fantastic, by the way, as well. Cheese ravioli, spaghetti and meatballs, and fettuccine alfredo. All other menu items that have that smaller size. So basically, as I said, their lunch menu. That's what they're doing. These lighter portion entrees are priced between $12.99 and $13.99, which, by the way, what their lunch menu is priced at. Told you yesterday here on the program, you can go in there for lunch. You get the salad, the breadsticks. I get the chicken parmesan and the water. With tip, I'm out of there at $18, $19, $20. That's about the pricing that it's out as well. The CEO does say the initial response from customers has been encouraging. Customers rating the chain 15% higher on affordability with this new menu option. He said all this again during the earnings call yesterday. These items are available at dinner all day long on the weekend. Well, it still offers abundant portions and come with the, of course, unlimited breadsticks, unlimited super salad. Still, so they're not taking anything away from you. It's out there. Customers that are doing it give higher ratings to Olive Garden. So Olive Garden finally waking up and realizing they're a little bit expensive for us out there these days for what you get. And then we got some other problems out there. Olive Garden trying to solve their issues. Well, Spirit Airlines CEO came out. So if you're traveling for the travel season coming up, just heads up here, because the CEO there of Spirit warned staff that the airline is actually going to cut a quarter of its flight schedule in November. Don't forget, it's restructuring its business in the second bankruptcy that it's currently in. So heads up here for holidays coming up if you're going to be traveling. Spirit said it will reduce capacity by 25% year over year in November because they want to optimize their network to focus on their strongest markets. So the CEO, who's only been there since April, right? That was after they got out of their first bankruptcy. He said that November's schedule does reflect the significant adjustments coupled with ongoing cost-saving efforts amid the restructuring. They need cash, and they need cash quickly here, right? They've announced that before. Of course, the CEO said the company's still evaluating the size of its fleet to ensure it has the right number of aircraft in its future network. And they also say more job cuts may be on the horizon for Spirit as they are negotiating and kind of going through this second bankruptcy right now with their cash crunch problem that they do have out there as well. So I kind of had it like this before. I know Ticketmaster's in a lot of lawsuits lately. Well, the Federal Trade Commission, we told you this headline yesterday. I got some more details, is suing here. And along with a bunch of state attorneys generals, they're suing Ticketmaster and his parent company, Live Nation. And they put that lawsuit out yesterday. They're saying that the Ticketmaster and Live Nation are forcing consumers to pay more to see live events through a variety of illegal tactics. These sites are terrible for what they're doing to consumers out there. Live Nation, just 2 days ago, I read an article saying because concerts are still selling out at these elevated prices, they're saying prices can go higher on concert tickets. Well, the FTC is saying Live Nation and Ticketmaster, Live Nation owes Ticketmaster if you didn't know, they've deceived artists and consumers by advertising lower ticket prices than what consumers must pay and falsely claiming to impose strict limits on the number of tickets that consumers can buy for an event. The FTC is saying that in reality, Ticketmaster coordinates with ticket brokers who bypass those ticket limits. The FTC said brokers used fake accounts to buy up millions of dollars worth of tickets and then sell them at substantial markup on Ticketmaster's platform. Ticketmaster benefits from the additional fees that it collects from those sales, obviously, but they would be sold to somebody, right? So why Ticketmaster obviously rising that price up is kind of the deal here. Ticketmaster controls 80% or more of major U.S. concert venues' primary ticketing. That's according to the FTC in this lawsuit. Consumers have spent more than $82.6 billion buying tickets from Ticketmaster between 2019 and 2024, according to the FTC. So kind of getting those illegal tactics out there. They should just post them for sale, let people buy them, do ticket limits, and go from there. But they're kind of manipulating that market, at least according to the FTC. And I don't know one person that doesn't feel like they do that, right? So root on that FTC in this story out there. And well, for those of you that like to eat a little bit healthier, pay a little bit more for it, heads up here as well. And this comes around tariffs right now, but organic food pricing, well, it could jump this fall. New policies and tariffs on imported organic sugar are coming our ways. Are happening right now actually, which means product is going to be an issue. Manufacturers are saying that these changes they're not going to help sugar growers and actually could put some food companies completely out of business if all they do is organic items. 80%, excuse me, 90% of organic sugar used by U.S. manufacturers actually imported in. The price of that product specifically increased in August. That's when the steep trade tariffs were put into effect by the Trump administration. And that, of course, will rise the price there of that organic sugar. Even more when duties on those sugars take effect October 1st, also coming up. So, what's going to happen in this? Well, it shouldn't be a shocker to you. According to the Organic Trade Association, the price of organic sugar is expected to just absolutely huge increase. 30% on average, they're saying, increasing obviously the product and pricing of most organic foods out there. So we're talking yogurt all the way up to cookies here with this organic sugar. Why do we import so much of this sugar? Well, looked into that a little bit. So the U.S. imports 1,825 tons of specialty sugar, and it's required to under a World Trade Organization agreement that's out there. Demand for organic sugar, though, far exceeds the amount we're required to bring in and import. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture sets an annual quota for the amount of specialty sugar that can be imported into the U.S. duty-free. That's the way it is right now. Last year, for instance, the quota was 231,485 tons. You guys eat a lot of organic sugar out there. That still wasn't enough to meet demand. This year, the USDA's quota taking effect October 1st, and then the tariffs on top of it, zero exceptions in terms of the quota coming up on October 1st. All organic sugar imports beyond the WTO minimum will be hit with that high tariff on those out of quota duties at that point. So prices are going to skyrocket here. I think some of that organic stuff's kind of a scam, right? Like, I don't trust the organic bananas. Are they really organic? Pay more for them, but I kind of question if they're still grown organically or if they get the chemicals like the other ones do. But organic sugar is an issue here coming up. So if you eat that stuff, you're healthier on that side. Brace yourself here as the already expensive healthy products are going to get a little bit more. And speaking of food and bad things around food, well, Campbell Soup Supply Company, well, they've agreed not to contest claims that the Ohio facility violated the Clean Water Act. Not once, not 10 times, not 100 times. 5,400 times over a 6.5 period. Basically leading to pollution of a river that feeds into Lake Erie over there in Ohio. 5,400 times, folks. The National Environmental Law Center, they represent the groups who is suing here. They argue that the lawsuit that the soup manufacturer violated was that Clean Water Act as well. So the time frame for those 5,400 times violating that, April 2018 to December 2024. Yes. So they're saying that it leads to ammonia, E. coli, total residual chlorine, phosphates, pH, oils and grease entering the waterway and then eventually into, of course, Lake Erie at that time. The waste from the Campbell facility enters the Maumee River. I apologize. I don't know the name of that river. It flows right into Lake Erie out there. The lawyers for the environmental groups, well, they said they released all this in that reporting here. Campbell's not fighting this, right? Campbell's statement, of course, came out, and they put a statement out to USA Today, is what I found. And they said the company has taken steps to comply with environmental regulations. According to Campbell's, it has been part of the Napoleon community since 1938. And they say the facility in question has had minimal impact on the river or Lake Erie. Yeah. It's not like they're putting soup into the lake here, right? Into the river and things like that. 5,400 times. Not one, not two, Wow. Hey, when we come back here at McCollum on Business, a last look at the market here today, see what it's doing, stocks we're paying attention to, and Apple will be one of those stocks coming up. Then local stories you need to know, right? You're going to school to be a teacher? Well, some things might be changing. Might help you get a little bit more experience while you're going to school. We'll talk about that. Gas prices here in Arizona. State Fair food time, folks. That'll be our last story of the day. Stick around for it. Come on back. McCollum on Business. I just saw Kevin Durant has had his Coinbase account login information restored to him. The story leading up to last night and this morning was Kevin Durant, NBA star, of course, with the Houston Rockets now, Phoenix Suns the last couple of years, that he can't unlock his Coinbase Bitcoin account. Here's what that quote was in the story leading up to it. We've yet to be able to track down his Coinbase account info, so we've never sold anything. And this Bitcoin is just through the roof, unquote. Yeah, if he hasn't gone into his Coinbase account for Bitcoin in years, that means he was buying it well below where it's trading now at $115,000. But he did get access to it, according to the story I see there. And can you imagine? Oof, I do everything in my power to find that thing after that time frame out there. And appreciate you joining us here. Of course, we're live Monday through Friday, as long as markets are open. Here at McCollum on Business, we get you updated on the business stuff around there. On demand at Robat TV after we're live, of course. Now the new free YouTube channel as well. You can see McCollum on Business there for those of you that would like to watch the show. Not a part of Robat TV. Appreciate you joining us on the YouTube channel. Of course, the main event in the can for the week, 8 to 10 a.m. live here on Robat TV. Up on Robat TV as well. YouTube channel, it's up there also. As we talk a lot of football here in the second hour here today, Diamondbacks, of course, and some high school stuff today from 8 to 10. That is live on, that is on demand at Robat TV on the YouTube page. Free podcast on your favorite podcast system for those of you that just like to listen to it. It is up there as well on Podbean, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, all of that stuff out there. Look for that, and of course, like and subscribe to it as well. And then the pit stop. The Look Ahead show was up yesterday on demand here at Robat TV, on demand on the YouTube page as well. There's a free podcast for that on Podbean only right now. Just search at the Pit Stop Talk. Join me on Twitter as well. It has a link there to the podcast. And follow that if you're a racing fan. New Hampshire this weekend. We look ahead to that. And appreciate you joining us here, of course, around Robat TV and what we do here. And with that being said, let's get right into the last Market Watch of the week. Nothing's really going to change here today as we get later into the trading day, as the market's only open for a little bit longer here. Well, Dow Jones is up 81 points. S&P 500 up 14 points. Obviously, big week for that S&P 500. NASDAQ's up 107 right now. The Russell 2K giving back some of those 50-plus games that they have there. 29 points down right now for the Russell 2K, the small cap index. And then Bitcoin, 115,439 has gone down a little bit more, about 100 and something points down from when we looked at it earlier today with that 115,000 range. And I kind of wonder, what does Kevin Durant have in that Coinbase account? What was he buying? Was he buying it at the 20, 30,000 range? Was he buying it at the 60, 70,000 range? I'm just kind of curious on that. But he did get access, so we can all feel a little bit better about that. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. Well, let's talk about Lennar, the home builder out there. They did their reporting here, and look, interest rates started to drop last month. It was in that 6.3%. We told you about that here at McCollum on Business. This late rate cut, are we going to see some more mortgage rate dropping? Well, we've seen a little bit over the last couple of days as well, but this won't have much to do with that. That kind of is happening after the reporting season right now for these housing companies. But Lennar is down 4.15% right now. Their third quarter revenue came in weaker than expected. They posted $8.81 billion in revenue. Well, they were expecting $9 billion in revenue for them. Their earnings did top estimates as well for them. $2.29 per share. Expectation was only $2.10 per share. So blew that side out of the water. So just the baseline here as we go forward with the interest rates slowly dropping, or in some cases dropping quickly for a couple days there. Something to watch here is more and more people might be jumping into the new home market as well. Next up, your favorite book company and every kid's favorite book company. Who doesn't need a poster of a Lamborghini for their house? Scholastic. Yes, obviously a publisher of books and everything. 13.25% down here this year. Folks, you're not buying enough books for your kids at school anymore. A loss per share for them, $2.52 for the fiscal fourth quarter. They lost $2.52, folks, in that first quarter. Yes. They were expected a loss of $2.13 per share. Last year is what they had. So they're losing more and more. So last year, lost $2.13 in their first quarter. This year, $2.52 in the first quarter. Scholastic not doing well out there. 13.65% down for the Scholastic Corporation here today. And then finally, let's look at Apple here. Why look at Apple, Steve? Well, the iPhone is available today. The watches are available today. Everything they presented a couple weeks ago, available here today for the most part. A few exceptions. 3.46% up right now for Apple on the day today. JP Morgan hiked Apple's price target to $280. They had it at $255 before today, and JP Morgan raising it up to that $280 level. You can see it's trading at $246. Well, there's plenty of play here to hit to that price level of $280 as well. JP Morgan did say demand for Apple's new iPhones that are come out today as well. Well, they say they're strong based on early sales across Asia over the while we were sleeping here this morning. So Asia had positive sales of them. Some positive news for Apple here today. 3.39% up here for Apple with these new products hitting the market here today, right now. Well, let's get into the local stories. And if you're a teacher, want to be a teacher, need some experience. You don't want it all to be book work, etc. The Arizona Teacher Registered Apprentices Program. It's known as AZ Trap, by the way, if you'll hear that term. Well, it offers a path through education, which is good, right, in terms of experience side of things. And basically, it's going to be little to no cost as well. It promises more experience in the classroom and a way to earn money before becoming an actual certified teacher out there. No more free internships, right? For those with existing bachelor degrees, AZ Trap allows them to work as an apprentice for 1 year before taking the test to become certified. State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Horn did say that for those with only a high school diploma, well, it's a 4-year program for you to become certified at the end of it there as well. Tom Horn said, quote, they go to college nights and weekends and work in the classroom during the day. They get paid a minimum of $20 an hour, and then they pay for the college as well to get the college degree as well before you can get certified as a teacher. The Department of Education secured $1.5 million from the Maricopa County Workforce Development Board. They're plotting this program during this year and now officially being announced. Horn said the Arizona Department of Education is piloting the program to combat the state's teacher shortage that continues to happen here in Arizona. Horn did say that they're losing more teachers than actually are coming into the profession from there. So, yeah, you always come in bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? And then come out something else on the other side many professions, but especially in that teacher one out there. So some good news there in terms of trying to combat this teacher shortage that we're seeing out there as well. And then, we talk all the time about, APS, SRP, price increases, what they're doing. Well, of course, the Corporation Commission, well, they're starting the process to repeal efficiency rules requiring obviously the largest utilities to achieve annual energy savings and those laws that have been passed. These energy efficiency rules were first adopted by the Arizona Corporation Commission back in 2010. They require, APS, SRP, Tucson Electric Power to achieve 22% cumulative energy savings by 2020. Notice that date, 2020. These requirements have long expired. But in order to meet those goals, the utility adopted a range of policies, including helping customers, basically buy energy efficient appliances, but even offering other incentives to reduce energy use during high demand periods. So this commission had reconfirmed today that as of 2024, APS is at 26.2%, Tucson Electric Power is at 28.52% level. So they're hitting those levels. The thing was supposed to be done by 2020. They've hit those levels. Some of the detractors from this saying don't repeal these laws. They said just amend the laws. They're going to repeal them here as well. They've long been since expired and kind of hanging over the head. But, repealing is the way they go. Some of the critics want it just to be amended. Well, they're working through that process of the repeal now as these utilities have hit those numbers and what they're looking at. And we told you, gosh, what was that, a month or so ago? The Arizona Republic, as of October 5th, is going to start printing their paper, for those of you that still receive the print version, in Las Vegas in a joint production up there in Las Vegas. Well, we now know the Arizona Republic is going to move out of their office space up there that they've been in downtown Phoenix for about 30 years now. They're going to move up in the Park Central area. So obviously the newspaper has a digital arm, the AZ Central. They're both moving into that newly redeveloped Park Central Midtown complex up there, where we used to have our offices about a year or so ago. They're going to occupy a 17,000 square foot space up there at Park Central. The Republic is currently leasing that 100,000 square feet across 4 floors on Van Buren over there in Central Phoenix. I do know that Channel 12 is in that same area building. Channel 12 just did another long-term lease there to stay in those buildings, but Republic looks like it is moving out. The Republic's current downtown lease ends on December 31st. By the way, Gannett, the parent company of Arizona Central, used to own that building. They sold it off there and now moving out on the leasing side of it here coming up. And then got to give you some bad news here, folks, and if you filled up your tank lately, you know what bad news we're talking about. 50 cents per gallon price increase on gas over the last month here in Phoenix, specifically Phoenix. Yes, so gas is obviously up here, topping both the state and national averages at nearly $3.90 a gallon for regular unleaded. I saw the fries by my place yesterday was at $3.95. The Safeway another mile down the road was about $3.75 last night as well. So we're in that range, right? Gas Buddy, of course, who monitors gas prices, they say there are many reasons for the cost spike. They always blame the gasoline blends. We're going into winter, so you get the less costly winter blends as well. If you don't know, the refineries of California highly affect us here in Phoenix, specifically Phoenix. The valley is supplied by California refineries. I don't know why we keep doing that, but that's what we do. If you go out of the Phoenix-Maricopa area, well, other counties, like Pima, for instance, Yuma, well, they get their gas from different states, Texas, etc. Well, they're averaging closer to $3 a gallon for their gasoline. And we get the California gas because of the atmosphere here, right? The pollution in the air. Prices are expected to lower as blends change to the cheaper winter option. We know another refinery in California is about to go down as well, while a couple come back online. Gas prices, folks, is bane of our existence out there, right? At $3.90 average here in the Maricopa County. And now let's talk a little and finish this up on a good note, right? State fair time. Forget about the Gravitron. Forget about the Ferris wheel. Forget about the concerts up there at the state fair. Forget about spending a ton of money to win a teddy bear. Yeah, forget about that. Forget about your barbecue stain on your white T-shirt. All of that stuff. Start talking a little bit of food, folks. Yes, 40 plus new Arizona State Arizona State Fair food options coming up. Dubai chocolate Oreos is an option. The one that caught my eye, right there. Ice cream nachos, folks. Ice cream nachos. We have to overpay to get into the state fair. Riley just said, got to do a nacho review. Work trip, McCollum on business, state fair for the ice cream nacho review coming up here, folks. 40 plus ones here as well. So fair officials released a big list of unusual foods that will be available at the fair this year. Like I said, 40 plus options, man. You're going to have the old favorites, funnel cakes, deep fried, everything, hamburgers as well. So they're the big new ones that are catching everybody's eye, the Dubai chocolate strawberry cup, the ice cream nachos. Look at that. That actually looks kind of good. Are those strawberries? Berries, maybe? Fantastic. A Pop-Tart ice cream sandwich, if I could say that. I've never had a Pop-Tart. Maybe I'll have a Pop-Tart ice cream sandwich as my first one out there as well. They have a food map out there, folks, at the state fair if you want to map it out as well. So you can actually save money on the food as well. Every night in September, you get $16 in fair food for only $10. After 10 p.m., though, so you have to go kind of late. Might be worth it. On Fridays in October, they got the Food Flight Fridays. Fan favorite bites will be $5 each on every Friday in October as well. So fair is open today, folks. Friday, September 19th. Closes Sunday, October 26th. And Riley, you're going to have to put it on the calendar. We're going to have to go try those ice cream nachos there as we do a nacho review coming up as well. For that, where the state fair is. It's over at the fairgrounds, up there at the old Madhouse on McDowell as well. There's other things out there. Big old list here. Banana matcha, birria baked potatoes, Cajun chicken fries coming up as well. Choco Taco. Remember those went out of business? Go back here for that as well. Coming your way, Coke a Latte Fizz over there at Enzo's Pizzeria. Cotton candy bacon on a stick. You can find that at Bacon Nation. Dirty sodas. If you don't know what those are, look that up for you. It looks, it's a whole other thing there. Dunkin' Taquitos. They have state tacos. Fried lobster tail there at the Lobster Shack. I don't know if I do seafood at a state fair. Not going to lie to you on that one. Hot dog mac. That mac and cheese with hot dogs cut up in them. It was a favorite when I was a kid and everything to that effect. By the way, the ice cream nachos can be found at the Waffle Cone and spot 59 there. Jalapeno smash burgers as well. I'm just going through some of the highlights here. Mike's Hot Honey Big Daddy Corn Dog, also available out there as well. You got Mike's Hot Honey Pizza Slice, Mike's Hot Honey Turkey Leg, Mike's Hot Honey Wings. Mike loves his hot honey, folks, and he's out there at the state fair as well coming up. So we'll have to talk more about that coming up. And, man, I'm just hungry as I'll get out now. So everybody enjoy the rest of your Friday, whatever you got going on this weekend. Have a good weekend. We'll be back here, McCollum on Business at 11 o'clock. Of course, if we don't stuff ourselves to the end of time over here at the state fair for that food. Oh, yeah, that funnel cake picture just popped up on my screen, folks. That whipped cream on top, strawberries on it. See you at the fair, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.